Dawntrail, the expansion for Final Fantasy XIV coming out in this summer 2024, has got some new information on where exactly we're going and what exactly Tural looks like. We previously looked at this in other videos based on the information we had from previous fan festivals, but we finally get a bit more of an unveil of what Tural looks like as a continent. So if you didn't know, for Dawntrail, we're expanding our horizons from the well-traveled 3 great continents we're used to beyond the Indigo Deep, where adventures wait beneath western skies. And this is what the map looked like previously. They deliberately blurred out the top there of that continent with fog, and now here's what it looks like. So a lot more of those images we saw in previous FanFest make a lot more sense, including the northern section of Tural itself as a continent, as we can see here, with Tural actually being the city sort of stretching between the southern part of this to the northern edge of that continent of Tural itself, with that split being shown here on the map by a large crevice, which is actually waterfalls. That is actually there. There seems to be a formation that's preventing you from just simply walking from the south to the north and vice versa. And there's this huge bridge that's supposed to stretch all the way from the southern continent to the northern continent and make basically it's more of a physical thing, but also a representation of unity, and apparently this storyline will feature a lot of that as a theme going on. A lot more of those pictures, as I say, make more sense of where those western sort of Wild West looking places would be, including that desert section. As you can see from that topography on that map, it's a lot more arid looking, sort of browns rather than the greens of the southern continent. So lots of difference in variety and diversity when it comes to landscapes this time around, which they go into a lot more detail. You'll also see that there's also some kind of floating crystal or something on the image there, on that map image. We'll actually come to that in a second, but that is a player city, a player hub, and probably the section that's going to feature the most storyline as we go forward towards the middle and end part of this expansion. They do describe this as a very similar expansion to Stormblood in that we're on 2 fronts, but at least this time it's on one large continent split apart by this bridge. So that's how the zones will be distributed between the north and the south, which makes a lot more sense than what we expected it to look like previously. Tural then is the main city, then the heart of Tural, and that makes sense then, being the throne, the whole reason we're going over there to investigate and help with the succession of that leadership, that kingdom, and everything is sort of slotting into place. In terms of the new areas then, they show an incredible amount of them in this footage. There's everything from arid landscapes, sort of Wild West towns with saloons, to sort of ramshackle buildings for all of the different tribal cultures and races that exist. We got to see a little bit about obviously the Mamulja and the different varieties of those different subspecies. They're really going the full hog with this one, with variety of the people you'll meet and the places that they live, and it's really quite refreshing. The diversity sort of splits these zones up entirely. It means that you're always going to see something new or something different, and not necessarily just expect the same thing from everywhere you go in that area. And they have done that before, but not to, I think, the same extent, from bioluminescent forest to normal type of forest in the south to the north being arid, and then there's this futuristic section as well, which apparently is a player hub. A lot of people have alluded that a lot of these pictures are the main hub. This is supposedly called Solution 9. One of the frames from the keynote mentioned that was its name. It says, a city of towering facades constructed by an entirely different civilization than that of those found in Tural, which would presume that this is a predate ancient civilization, maybe sort of locked away from everyone else, maybe something to do with Asians or Allagans or something like that. Remember, the Allagan Empire did expand its reaches far to the west, so it would make sense it would have some tie in there. But as you can see, this is hyper futuristic. It looks like something straight out of Night City in Cyberpunk, and it's fairly obvious that the neon lights there and the sort of strip lights and things like that are definitely adding to that. There's lots of neon signs and holographs. It's very interesting to see that in Final Fantasy XIV. It's not a thing we have seen really in that sort of detail, and certainly not in this extent of technology before. The closest we got was a kind of like signs in the beehive and things like that, sort of backlit signs. But these seem to be fully fledged and, well, from an entirely different game if you were to, show me these pictures and not put the dawntrail logo on them. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. It just means that they're going in a completely different direction, and an unexpected one at that, which is always a good thing. It seems to me that the northern province is where we're going to see this, the northern section of the continent. Above all that arid landscape, there's that crystal type structure. So I'm guessing that Solution 9 is a self-enclosed city in something akin to what you might expect to find in Final Fantasy XIII with Cocoon. So a built-off city, completely built away from the rest of the world, that seems to be impenetrable. Maybe we'll help them access that, or maybe the civilization is, obviously the natives have found a way into that and are living there, but perhaps with not the same knowledge of what exactly that place is or any of the history of it. But it certainly seems like somewhere I would like to AFK. In terms of contrast to that, directly beneath, and I think that's directly beneath Solution 9, is this other town which is called Heritage Found. It's most notable because there's this like steam train going through this almost, it feels a bit Gala moldy, very oppressed. They describe this place as, and I quote, "In this region overflowing with lightning energies, thick thunderclouds blot out the sun while streaks of purple levin illuminate the land, day and night." So it's kind of like an oppressed, always dark, neon lit purple area with that massive city above it. It reminds me a little bit of Midgar in that kind of same way. We've got lots of lightning and energies. Yeah, there's supposed to be quite a few dungeons, and I know the 8-player raid is supposed to be sort of directly referencing this. The 8-player raid is called the Arcadion, and if you look at the splash art for that raid series, it very much looks like Solution 9, but like buildings in there, or maybe uncovering the secrets of what this place is. It also kind of looks like a graphics card, like an NVIDIA like 70 million series or something. Very interesting. This is the thing that's got me the most curious about this expansion, and this stretches obviously through the 8-player raid and as well as the dungeons. So dungeon variety, we had a really cool trailer looking at all the dungeons. We have everything from a boat ride up a swampy river mangrovey area in a jungle, deep jungle sort of crevasses, forest areas. We've got places inside caves. We've got like these Aztec ruins, mountaintop sections, and then we have this neon lit cyber universe, neon futuristic thing, cyberpunk, which looks amazing. Absolutely amazing. I cannot personally wait to step foot in here and just see it for myself, but it definitely feels to me like this is what they could have done with Stormblood. It definitely feels like the diversity between the zones is so drastic that hopefully the writing is on point and this all flows together nicely, as opposed to feeling like we have the futuristic storyline and then we have the jungle storyline. It's going to feel very strange going from one to another, but again, it's too early to tell. We're just looking at pictures and things and trying to piece this together. But it's very exciting to look at, and I think you'll probably agree with me. It's very hard to expect what we're going to see from this. We've already seen some of the art of all of the threats we might face, and some of them are obviously more threatening looking than others. Yeah, we have everything from giant bosses that look like mecha robots to cactuars that have lifted too much or taken too many steroids or something like that. So the type of diversity with the monsters as well is something that can't be understated. I wouldn't be surprised if this had the most variety in NPCs and creatures that we'll probably ever see in any of the expansions, up at least until this point and probably into the future. That's my guess. I don't know. What do you think about this? What are you most excited for? I think me personally, definitely Solution 9 is tickling all the bells. I especially love on some of the artwork you can make out an aetheryte. It kind of looks like a tombstone floating there or a memory stick or something. It's just so different. I can imagine a lot of people will make that their new home, and hopefully we'll be able to mount there. That would be the icing on the cake. The best places to hang out are the ones that are cities with convenience, yes, but it's also nice to have mounting as well. I miss Ralga's Reach for that reason, and probably that reason alone. This expansion is shaping up very nicely. I can't wait to see more and hear more, and hopefully we get more information soon. And yes, I really can't wait for Dawntrail in the summer. Much love, enjoy the rest of your day. More videos on the way as we get to them, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.